I'm no vlogger. I never have been and I never will be. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm just here to talk about the fact that I recently used this camera for a little bit of filming when I was over in Germany. And yes, I'm talking boring, walking around, just chatting a bit and just trying some stuff out. It's really just to see how this camera performs because I'm just curious to know how well the Insta360 X3 performs as a vlogging camera. Because when it comes to vlogging or any kind of filming like that, simplicity is everything as far as I see it. I don't want to use a mirrorless camera really for that. I don't want to use a kind of Sony mirrorless camera. I don't want any shallow depth of field. I think a lot of people like that with the mirrorless cameras, but I don't want that with a vlog. I want to be able to point things out and I want to be able to reference stuff in the background maybe or something like that. Shallow depth of field does not help with that. I also find the general look of those cameras, it's good for a lockdown shot, but for moving, for stabilized stuff, it just isn't as good as the stabilization you get with something like this or on a GoPro. So I think GoPros and maybe this are a good solution when it comes to kind of just those walking along the street talking to camera. So I wanted to see, I tried the GoPro the weekend before, and this weekend I tried the Insta360 X3 because this camera has, although it's a 360 camera, and that's of course one of the massive pluses with this one, is that if you do want to use it in 360 mode, you can. So you've always got that available, but I'm not really talking about that here. I'm just kind of ignoring the sole purpose of the camera and just saying, well, this also has two single lens modes as well. So you have the lens on this side and the lens on this side. So whichever way you're holding it. So if I'm holding it like this, which is the way I would hold it to talk to the camera so I can see myself on the screen here, I'd obviously have the lens there and I can just flick it around just by touching the screen to change it to the other side as well. So that's actually really useful because obviously with the GoPro, you don't have that flexibility. You either have to turn it around like that or adjust it and turn it around, move the tripod. With this, you just keep it completely still, just flick it around and then start filming the other way like that. Also, and this is the big one for me, what I found about this is that the battery life is incredible. The battery on this thing, I'll take it out, this battery is the same capacity as on a GoPro. I thought because the immediate size difference, at least dimensions wise, the battery of the GoPro appears to be a lot smaller, but the power density is exactly the same. We've got 6.93 watt hours. It's pretty much the same on a GoPro. And yet the Insta360 can manage to do maybe an hour and a half of filming with that amount of power. I'll be lucky to get 20 minutes out of a GoPro with a battery. It's absolutely useless. So massive big plus for this camera. Also, it starts up pretty quickly and it's reliable. I found using the GoPro the weekend before, now admittedly I'm using a GoPro 10, they're up to the 11 now, so I'm sure there's, maybe they've improved various bits and pieces, but I found sometimes it just didn't work. It just wouldn't power up. And so I had to remove the battery, put the battery back in and get it to power up again. This is at least reliable. It takes a little bit of time to start up. If I just turn this on now, you'll see that there is a little bit of a delay in getting to an actual point where I can start recording. So if something, not bad, hey? Start recording, there we go. And that's now recording content in single lens mode. Resolution wise, it's at 3.6K at 60 frames a second. That's what I recorded at because I feel that 60 frames a second works nicely for vlog content. This will do up to 4K, but only at 30 frames a second in single lens mode. So what's so bad about it? Well, not that much actually. I found it a really good solution. I haven't checked the footage in any great detail yet. I will show some of that in a second. I'll just sort of put a few of the clips at the end so you can have a look for yourself, see what you think of the quality, the colour, the what I was looking at on the laptop though when I was sat in the hotel room was the footage sometimes looked a little bit soft. It looked a little bit almost like noise reduced, like the noise reduction was a little bit high on it and it just had a bit of a soft, not quite as sharp and clear as the GoPro footage sometimes is, even in good light. So that was one of the things I found bad about the camera. The second, I think, is the framing, because even if you set this to linear mode, so the absolute widest this can go, sorry, not the widest, the narrowest field of view, it's still really wide. And I guess that's because this camera is designed for sort of sports, it's designed for action, it's designed for the kind of life that they put on the commercials that no one actually really has. So yeah, so the wide field of view really works for that. But I found that sometimes it was just a bit too much. I couldn't cut out of the image stuff that I really didn't want to be in the frame. And without getting, really too close up to it. Because even if I switch it to my face here, to have a reason, see, even from this distance, that's about the framing I would want. So I can have it this close to my face, and that's the framing I want of myself, which naturally creates some kind of distortion in the lens. But I get that. It's a 360 camera. It's going to have that wide sort of field of view. Also, the lenses themselves are quite vulnerable. I'll just zoom in a little bit here. Zoom in by moving closer, that is. And you can see for yourself, the lenses at the side of the camera really do stick out. And they have to, again, because of the 360 aspect of the camera. But that does leave them quite exposed when you're using them for just using them out and about. You find yourself wanting to put the cover on all the time. But it records reliably. You get a good amount of storage. You can put a good amount of storage in here. When it's recording, you can have the screen stay on all the time. I honestly just found it a really nice camera to use as a vlogging camera. So not as a 360 camera, just as a vlogging camera. Audio-wise, it's okay as well. It's not brilliant. I found the background noise seemed to be quite high on it. Even though I was fairly close to the camera, I found the background noise to be a little bit high. But you can get an accessory that goes into the side here, which allows you to plug in an external mic. And I have ordered something to allow myself to do that. But then you're moving away from that simple, single, just something you can have in your hand, I had it slotted in my pocket. Probably looks a bit weird with this hanging out of my pocket. But just slotted the tripod in my pocket like this and just carried it around like this all day. It was absolutely perfect, dead easy to use. And I got loads of footage with it. So with the mic, having to have a mic attached, an extra thing on the side, and then there's more things to turn on, turn off. Would that have been a problem? Maybe. So take a look at the footage, see what you think. There's a bit of footage from a recent trip to Berlin. This is the only reason I'm here in Germany, to see Falco, the musical.
Das Musical.
Hey. Do you remember, Martha? You must know the song Amadeus, Amadeus, Amadeus. You know that? You know that from playing it at home? That is this guy. As far as places go, it doesn't really get much more sort of touristy than this in Berlin, with the Brandenburger Tor here in the background, and then look, you've even got the Fernsehturm there in the background as well, which you probably can't see it on this actually, but there's like a kind of cross on it, which I'm sure my dad gave some kind of religious meaning to that, and I've no idea whether it's one of those things where it was intentionally done or whether it was just it just happened to appear in the sunlight with like a cross that looks like kind of, the cross that Christ was put on and whatever, and so it's just been given this religious sort of reference. I really don't know, because it's a television tower, so yeah, anyway, I'm sure he gave it something like a description of something like the Pope's cross or something. I don't know what it is.
Further reading on this reveals that it is in fact called Pope's Revenge. And to quote Wikipedia here, when the sun shines on the Fernsehturm's tiled stainless steel dome, the reflection usually appears in the form of a Greek cross, Berliners nicknamed the luminous cross the Pope's Revenge, believing the Christian symbol a divine retaliation for the government's removal of crosses from East Berlin's churches.
So they've gone up now. They've gone to the top. They've got their slot to go in. Without me. As I say, yeah, it just makes me nervous thinking about it. Just seen someone walking through the square that looked exactly like Yvonne Strahovski. And you know when you're sort of almost so certain that it is that person, you want to go up to, I almost want to go up to them and ask them. But I'd feel like a bit of a tool, or kind of if it was and if it wasn't. But fine. Yes, very good. Right, they're back down now, so everybody's safe. Miles had his ears popped. I guess that can happen at 206 metres, right? I mean, that's, you know, if you went up a hill in a car that was 200 metres, you'd probably feel it in your ears a little bit.
It's the hotel.
Sorry, what did you say? You said it was a rip-off?
Yes, I said it was a rip-off.
Why?
Just because, you know, you can do it in so, like, you go up, the lift takes no time at all.
Is it quick, right?
It's really quick,
What,
which
you
I think
like,
is
push
why,
down in your...
I think you just get your ears popped. It lifts good because you can look up and you see the shaft.
What?
Yeah, you can look up and see going
It's
up.
what, it's got an open top?
Yeah.
It's not actually open, it's got a
It's
window.
not open, it's just a glass. Yeah.
No, obviously, yeah.
Well, it's on it.
So that bit's good. You get to the top, and there's like 100 people up there. So you know, and you go and you walk down.
So what, 100 people just against this?
Yeah.
Against this bit, yeah?
And you can't go to any other level because in the level above you have to have paid to go to the restaurant.
That's a special kind of bundle ticket thing, yeah.
So it's just on that one level. They've got like those viewing things that you can magnifying things.
Yeah.
But you have to pay €2 for those.
So you pay 25 euros to get in, 15 euros per child. So this costs 55 euros
Yeah.
for you to go up.
No, leave the pigeon alone.
55 euros to go up, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you can, I say it's like 15 minutes.